Welcome back to Tiny T Gaming. I'm going to be going through what I think the future holds for the Celestial Lions, the chapter of loyalist Astartes who dared to question the Inquisition. Before I do though, please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel get out there, and let me know what you think the future holds for the Celestial Lions. It's really interesting hearing all of your different opinions on these matters. So, for those who don't know, the Inquisition effectively sentenced the Celestial Lions to death for having the temerity to question the Ordo's methods. Utilising snipers hidden as orcs during the Third War for Armageddon, plus false intelligence, the Inquisition set about assassinating all officers and apothecaries left to the chapter, who had deployed en masse to the beleaguered world. Only saved through the actions of Grimaldus of the Black Templars, they were assisted by a crusade of that chapter, utilising the Templars' apothecaries to begin the slow process of rebuilding their numbers. Now, this was pre-Great Rift opening. During the events of the Emperor Spears novel, which is set post-Great Rift opening, an Imperial assassin kills Akin Dubuku, the chapter master of the Wounded Chapter. Now, we don't know what's happened since then, as the novel has not been continued with the series, which is a great shame as it's one of my favourites in the setting. We do know the Warband of the Pure, which leads the Exilarchy, were going to invade the chapter's homeworld, and the now dead Dubuku was going to do his best to withdraw as many civilians as possible, using his chapter, or the remains of it, to fight a last stand in a holding action. In my opinion, a chapter that is not fleet-based, that has been at war for 100 standard years, losing and on the back foot with barely 100 battle brothers before the Great Rift, has little hope. I am sure in the future the authors at Black Library will kill off the chapter, but it would be really interesting to have them survive in some meagre form, whether that be as a subunit of the Emperor Spears chapter, or as an add-on to the Black Templars crusade that has been with them since Armageddon. Clearly, a lot of fans want to see a continuation of the Emperor Spears novels, but it'd be really good to actually have the Celestial Lions live on, even if it is just a handful of warriors who are then to join up full time with their brothers from the Spears. Having these prominent warriors live on, even taking a handful of recruits of their own from Nemeton, would be really interesting. These warrior recruits then blending with the different culture and traditions of the surviving lions, so we'd have these sort of mix of Nemetese lions. In all honesty though, I think whenever the Emperor Spears novels get a sequel, we'll see the complete death of this proud Astartes chapter. I hope it's worth it though when they are killed off, as the way in which Aaron Dembski Bowden has written the novel shows there is a future for Alara's Vale, and having such a chapter go extinct for little gain seems such a waste. I do understand that Warhammer 40,000 is meant to be a grimdark setting, but that doesn't mean everything should be wasteful and useless. They should really lean into the more heroic last stands, especially when it comes to such unfortunate Astartes chapters such as the Lions. I think they've got a really good setting here, or subsetting within the Warhammer 40,000 galaxy, where you can have quite a lot happen that isn't going to affect the wider outcome of the Indomitus Crusade or the post-Indomitus Crusade setting. So Guilliman and the Lion can do whatever they want, and then in this small pocket of what should be Imperial space, you can have these Astartes fighting and dying against their once brothers from the Pure, and then go from there. And I think that'd be really interesting, having a continuation of these storylines and having actually get some closure on what's happening with the Celestial Lions. Because they can still effectively lose and be wiped out. Having them go down swinging though gives it all a lot more purpose, so that their legacy is proud and we have a fitting end for the brothers of Akin Dubuku. It would give much more story to the other factions regarding the battle for Alara's Vale too. The Spears, which if you've watched my previous videos, are one of, if not my favourite chapter, barring the Carcharodon Astra. And then we have the Exilarchy and the Pure, the warband of traitor Astartes that came from the Star Scorpions and who were the Wardens of Ilara's Vale alongside the Celestial Lions and the Emperor Spears. Now, I'm sure getting more of a view from the Pure side would be great as well, as we did have that sort of confrontation between the leader of the Pure and the slave of Verdan from what was the Mentor Legion and then the Emperor Spears chapter. So we got their point of view, but it'd be really good to have more information on why the Imperial Astartes decided to fire on those who were once their brothers. And I do understand that they were locked into the warp for times, and because of that they did have to change. So were they completely corrupted or were they not? Having these stories fleshed out would be great. Having some of the chapter stories live on to carry on the fight would be even better. I feel there's nothing quite sadder than the remaining warriors of a dead brotherhood slowly fighting and dying off one by one. It really makes their sacrifices and death more poignant, and that's what I enjoy the most. It's just my opinion though, and I really like the idea of a chapter that has good morals and principles, even if they have to die for them, as clearly the setting of Warhammer 40,000 and especially the Inquisition doesn't marry up with good morals and principles. And when you compare them to other Astartes chapters like the Minotaurs or the Marines Malevolent, it'd be really good to have that comparison exacerbated. So we have the Emperor Spears and the remaining Celestial Lions showing off their more human natures, because that's what's really interesting, and I think that's what Aaron Dembski-Bowden does really well. He humanizes these Astartes who are basically teenage males who are then thrust into being some super soldier, but they never develop past that. Obviously they develop into these super soldiers, but mentally they're almost stunted, especially emotionally. So it's really good that as an author he highlights this quite well. And it's quite interesting because it then shows why they play on brotherhood so much, because it's the one constant they have in their quite bleak and violent lives. But that's been my thoughts on the future of the Celestial Lions. Please let me know what you think in the comments below, and please subscribe if you haven't, as your support really means a lot. And I will see you in the next one.